Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Woohoo! Back at it again. What a handful of days. What a couple days, you know. It's a Monday following Easter Sunday. It's a Monday following the Rizzler's birthday. It's a Monday where big news Monday, Big Monday, Big 12 Monday. Big 12 Monday, I love to watch basketball. Big 12 Monday, I want to see these new additions on the Bearcat basketball team. Portal is portaling for the football team as well. Bearcat Monday. We're going to talk about all of this, guys. It's a great day to be a Bearcat, great week to be a Bearcat, and a fantastic time to sit down and have a chat with some of the guys that I love to say hello to every Monday. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome the crew, welcome the squad, Mr. Aaron Smith, Mr. Chad Brendel, Mr. Ryan Royer. Gentlemen, how are we?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Uh-oh. Oh.
I had to do it because Aaron had to reset his internet. That's usually, it's usually not my job, so I forgot. That's my bad. It's on me.
Athens.
I've had a rough day.
Off to a great start.
Just be happy I'm here.
Right. Royer, did you see what
I
happened?
saw the tweets of, Chad was dead and then he came back to life.
Yeah.
The Doge boys were uncovering. We need Aaron.
So, yeah, I am waste and fraud and all that stuff.
I'm sure our friends over in Norwood, they would probably say that.
Yeah, I think one of them might have done it. No, my accountant called me this morning and said, "Hey, your tax return got bounced back because you're deceased." And I was like, I think I'm okay. So then I contacted Social Security and they were like, "No, you're good, you're alive." And then he was like, "Well, here's the paperwork that says you're not." So for the time being, I think I'm alive. I think.
Yeah.
But I can't make any promises. You guys can see me, so that means one of two things. I am alive,
I can't
or
see
you're
you.
both dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
That's a really good point. I mean, Ryan, I feel pretty alive. Being alive, right? I feel it.
I'm feeling alive too, man. So.
You're in a new spot, Royer.
You're not used to it. Down center.
Down center.
No, I mean your background. Like that's new, right?
No, this is the same.
I think you just repositioned.
Mate, is the different
Reposition?
angle? This is where I've been since August.
Okay. You noticed those windows before, Brent? I thought it was a door behind him.
You know
that was my apartment where the guy used to pop in during.
During the entire podcast, all I do is stare at Ryan's screen. So yeah, I have recognized the windows. But yeah, no, it's he's here. He's alive. I mean, Chad, that was quite the interesting little tweet I saw you throw out there. I think you were trying to give like a little bit of a segue into something, but no, it was legit that you were not here. You were passed away for a little while, and happy to have you back, man. I should have said it's a Monday where, a Monday following a Sunday where he had risen yet again on Monday. He has also risen and he's back. So welcome back.
Thanks.
He being Chad this time. But aside from that, how was your weekend? How was Easter? What did we get into this past weekend, Mr. Brendel?
Volleyball tournament in Louisville on Saturday. Girls went 2-2. Had a good start to the day. Got a little tired towards the end. Those 5 a.m. wake ups to drive to Louisville for a tournament at 8 a.m. By like 3, the 14-year-olds are a little tired.
Yeah.
But good Saturday and then family stuff yesterday. Had a good time. Came back home, called it a night. I was in bed early last night. It was a long weekend. And then today I woke up and I was dead.
That's how it works. That's how it works, right? Well, happy to have you back. Royer, the boy, how are we? How was the weekend?
Solid. did some traveling all the way up to Cleveland, then down to Columbus, and then back here. So,
wow,
seeing my girlfriend's family, then going down and seeing my family on Sunday. So it was good. Got to check in with everybody, and it was my brother flew in from Boston, so got to hang out with him, which is always fun. And yeah, just pretty good weekend. Can't complain.
gotta love that. Yeah, I got family in right now. Brother and his wife are in town from Grandview. Good old Columbus squad.
Yeah,
that's who I go up there and always see. But yeah, we I had myself a whale of a time. I was in Indianapolis last week for work, and golly, I had a full schedule where I was gonna have to stay in Indy over the weekend if I didn't get this stuff done. So I literally pulled an all-nighter at work on Friday and drove straight to the airport. And I sat down, and at 7 a.m. I ordered a drink because it felt like it was midnight for me. And golly, I was a bit loopy to say, but hey, we're back. We're back. Money's great.
That has to be the worst thing of all time. The all-nighter into a more. Oh shit! Sorry, I got the hiccups. Into the morning flight.
Oh, it was horrible.
I missed a flight one time seeing my brother play out in Boston. Providence, excuse me. And so I visit him out in Boston. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that again. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to stay up all night.
Yep.
Drank till, late enough to feel like, all right, I don't need to sleep now. Yep. All of a sudden you're like, oh, this is such a good idea. Like it's going to work perfectly. Get to the airport. You're up in the air at 30,000 feet. You're like, what in God's name have I done? This is the worst decision of all time.
Horrible.
Yeah. It'll mess your body up for 2 weeks. It's
I was loopy as hell at the airport, and then all of a sudden I hop on the plane and I knew I was going to pass out instantly. And there was someone sitting next to me when the plane took off, and I just passed out pretty much right away. And then I woke up and the entire row was gone, and they never came back. So I have no idea what happened in my sleep, and I apologize if anything did, but I woke up to a whole row, and I took full advantage from there. So
you were dozing off on someone's shoulder.
I might have been. I apologize to that gentleman. He was very kind. Thank you for the extra pillow support, but we made it. But Aaron, Athens stopped Athening. You're back. How are we, sir?
Doing all right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's better now, though. Thank goodness. Mm-hmm. I had a good weekend. We stayed home for Easter and hosted here. Had some family over, and I did a smoked pulled ham for the first time. It was magnificent.
Pulled ham.
Pulled ham. Yeah, like pulled pork, but pulled ham. I don't ever want to Chad, you're muted. I don't ever want a spiral cut ham ever again.
It's wild, isn't it? It looks like pulled pork. I did one for Christmas. It looks like pulled pork, but it tastes like ham.
So is it like how you buy ham and then you just cook it for a while and then you shred it? Okay. Huh.
Well, you got to make sure you don't buy the spiral cut. So you're not buying it.
Yeah, it can't be cut
already.
Okay.
Yeah, but you buy the same hunk, just not cut.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow. Yep.
It's delicious.
It was fantastic. With a nice apricot barbecue glaze on it, and it was.
Talk dirty to me, Aaron. Gotta love that. Yeah. We had a little salmon, a little prime rib, after a little bottomless mimosas for brunch. Ooh, we had ourselves a day.
Look at that.
It was fun. But yeah. Hey, and guys, a quick shout out to the Rizzler. It was his birthday this past weekend, so got to give him his love as well. But guys, what a massive day today was. It all started out with the football, commitment over the week. What a day, basketball wise as well. And we got to dive right into it. But talking about all this excitement, talking about the travel that just took place. I mean, Ryan, you've been putting a lot of wear and tear on your new car. You should probably go take it over to Danco, transmission router care. Danco Joe, hook it up. He's gonna take a look under the hood. He's gonna let you know what's going on. And he's going to give you 10% off next fixing, $10 off your next oil change. And Danco transmission. I don't care. We love you guys. But what a day. Let's talk about the Monday that was. The addition of Chad. I can't think of a taller Bearcat that they had. I mean, what? John Reek was committed at one point. I believe he was taller than 7'2", but boy, outside of that, I don't think there's been big. What was Big Dave topping out at 7'1", maybe?
Yeah, Big Dave was tall, at least 7 foot.
Yeah, at least. But 7'2", 7'6" wingspan. I've seen some people say it's even bigger than 7'6" wingspan. Standing reach over 9 feet 8 inches. We're talking about Mustafa Cham. Yeah, we're talking about Mustafa Cham.
Can he dunk on his tippy toes?
Pretty much.
So. Yes, I bet so.
Same.
Just unbelievable haul out of the portal.
Give me a big ass step stool, maybe. Yeah.
8-foot rim. Mustafa Cham. We're going to talk all about it. UCF center, was a freshman last year. Should have been a senior in high school last season. Instead, he's playing in the Big 12, putting up fantastic numbers, shooting from the outside, shooting from the mid-range, finishing lobs, protecting the paint like a veteran would. Can't wait to dive into more about him. Obviously, there's been a lot of smoke around his name for the last week plus, and finally, the ink is dry, if you will, and Mustafa Cham is a Bearcat. Chad, you've been all over it. Let's hear the breakdown of the fun and thrilling addition of a true difference maker in the paint in Mustafa Cham.
Yeah, mobile, huge, giant human. But you know, I've seen, you know, everybody, because he's 7 foot and from the same area of Africa, he's exactly like Aziz. Well, that's not the case. He's at least as an offensive player, his game is more refined. I think actually the big thing for me, if you look at him, more to his base, like thighs, hips, you know, the middle portion, the core, if you will, stronger than Aziz was. And that was, you know, Aziz after 5 years in college and Cham at 19. So that's the big thing. Rebounding, shot blocking, you know, impact maker on defense, but more of an offensive threat. He's got a nice little baby hook, can hit the 15-footer, can step out and make a three, gives you a guy that, I know, you know, this has driven some people crazy. When you run the ball screen handoff stuff at the top of the key, you've got a guy that's now a threat. And Aziz just wasn't. Like, there's a lot of things about Aziz's game that is undervalued by this fan base because they didn't win enough. If they would have won more, everybody would have loved Aziz. But because they didn't win enough, he takes some undue criticism. But this is much more of an offensive threat. This is a guy that, you know, it's not an elite passer. It's a good passer, but you know, the defense has to respect his presence wherever he's at on the floor. And with Aziz, that really was never the case. So, plus one full block shot more per game last season. A little bit more fluid getting up and down the floor. So it's Wes Miller loves having rim protection. And unfortunately, a lot of times you sacrifice offense for rim protection. Yeah. This should be a situation where you're not sacrificing much offense and you're still getting the rim protection, you're getting the rebounding. So just one of the better players in the portal, and great job by the UC staff to get it done.
And what I also think is going to be big too is that, you know, we were kind of hoping Aziz was going to take another step in his 5th season in college basketball with us. But, you know, kind of looking at it with years 4 and 5, you don't anticipate guys kind of like evolving like too drastically in comparison to this guy, being how young he is. I mean, there's still probably stuff that he hasn't tapped into or can still improve. and we might be getting an even better player next year because what do you say? He's 19 years old, so he's still got room to grow into his body and learn more about his game, learn more about the game of basketball too. So, I mean, you could argue that he's going to be even better next year, which is promising.
Yeah. The crazy thing about Mustafa Cham that we mentioned numerous times is the fact that he did reclassify last season to play at UCF when he, kind of Cooper Flag like, obviously, where he is younger than what he normally would be. And the fact of the matter is he was the 14th overall recruit in that 2025 class, the number one center in the 2025 class, which means he would have been a 5-star in this year's class of high school. Would have been ranked higher than Sean Abayev is. It's all these different added things. That's another thing that I think is kind of can't be overlooked, is that he was a high level recruit coming out of high school. It's not like he was kind of a project or someone that kind of blossomed out of nowhere like Aziz did. The main thing for me, like you said, Chad, is that high dribble handoff that the offense ran over and over again. And numerous times, Aziz would catch that ball and his defender would still be in the paint, would still be right near the basket, completely.
It wasn't that bad, but they would be at the free throw line.
Yeah, just having no wherewithal to even need to contest a turnaround spot up jumper or anything of that sort. With Cham, even though he shot 30% from deep, he still attempted around 80 threes in the season.
He made more threes than Tyler Betsy this year.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing to look at. And his shot looks good. It's not like it's something that looks like it can't be, repeatable. I guess when you see his fit in this team, Aaron, I'm going to bring you back in because as Chad mentioned, that people do see this Aziz type thing, but I think he has a way more developed offense, and he still brings that defensive side. He's 43rd in the country in block percentage, which is, as a freshman playing in the Big 12, that's a pretty astounding number. Your look and your feel as Cincinnati gets the number one highest ranked recruit in UCF basketball history. We cannot put that behind us. In Mustafa Cham.
I don't know. I'm excited to see what this staff can do with him. I think one of the things that we have not seen here over the course of the last several years is a big taking a step forward. And you hope that going from freshman to sophomore year, there's an automatic step forward. But I would like to see that game evolve even more to where we're even surprised by the things that he's able to do. I mean, I know that when you've talked about him, you've referenced him being a unicorn. And I think that that's not a stretch. I think that some of the things he can do, I'm not sure that there's too many people that can do all of those things at the same time. There's not many guys around the country that can do that. Certainly not at that height. So you've added a weapon that is going to be tough for people to defend. It opened up the offense. We saw how much it opened up the offense for UCF, and guys were getting in the lane. Guys were shooting all over the place, and they were able to run a very fast offensive pace because of what he can do. And for people like me, I would love to see the pace faster than what it was last season. So I don't know. I'm very optimistic.
I would just be fair. I don't think they played at a fast pace because of Cham. I think they played at a faster pace because they had three really, really good ISO basketball player guards, wings that you could just throw it to. Now, to what you're saying, teams weren't able to just send their 5 to the rim and wait for those guys because Cham was a threat. That part, yes. They also had 3 dudes that could go get a bucket that they basically had 3 like Jaron Cumberland type players last year that just going to the rim, whether there's a big guy there or not. So that was some of their pace, but some of it also was he's able to pull the big away, and your center can't just stand at 12 feet and wait for guys to come
waiting for a shitty lob.
Yeah.
think it complements our game well too. You were mentioning that high ball screen with the handoffs, having guys like Jizzle and Day not having, like, they're going to have more space to kind of attack the lane, and adding a guy like Celestine or Kurt Kriisa who kind of spot up right around that 40% 3-point range, more space for them to drive and kick, more space for them to drive, use their speed, their athleticism towards the rack, and just open up space kind of in that key. So I think it's going to really expand our offense. And I know last year when we weren't able to make shots, we were getting open looks. But maybe, being able to open up the middle of the floor a little bit more to be able to get easier looks at the rim or get even better looks on kicks to the corner or kicks to the wing. It's just better looks, getting better, easier looks closer to the rim, I think is going to help us, especially if we end up in kind of like those shooting droughts that we got in last season. So hopefully they won't be as deep of a drop as they were, and we can kind of really elevate our offense, having a weapon who's able to run that pick and roll handoff game.
The other part that goes with what Aaron was saying and connects to what you're saying, Ryan, teams are going to have a harder time blitzing the ball handler, which is what gave UC's offense fits. Anytime they played a high-quality team, they'd blitz the ball screen, push Jizzle or Day all the way back out towards half court, and the offense would already be stuck in no man's land before it ever got started, because they didn't have to respect Aziz offensively. You didn't have to, respect a short roll, little 12-footer. Yep. Didn't have to respect the 3-point shot. Didn't have to respect going down and ducking in and posting up. All they had to do was make sure he didn't get the lob.
Right.
And they had him shut off. So just like a culmination of all of those things is what we saw Cincinnati have the biggest problems with offensively kind of go away. Yeah, teams will still try to blitz, but you can make them pay in a couple extra ways with Cham and Big Slime as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I want to mention, Chad, is yes, we look at his threes. He attempted 79 threes, made 23 of them, 29.1%. For a 7'2", 5", yes, all day. Thank you. 95% of those were assisted, so that means he's catching it spot up when defense is sagging off of him and knocking him down. But outside of baskets right at the rim, he also attempted 109 shots that were 2-point jumpers that were not right at the rim. So that just I don't even think Aziz probably attempted half that many, even a quarter of that many. So he just is a threat to shoot from numerous places. You look at his highlight tape, he has a lot of baseline jumpers. He has the ability to catch it in the mid-range, turn and square up and shoot. It's a guy that he has all the athletic ability, he has the crazy length, and he has a shot that's developing. I want to just read a couple things that, when he was a recruit, he was a high-level recruit, and people are saying that he's soft, reliable scoring option in the paint. He has the room to add muscle, but he has flashed some great footwork, expanding moves in the post, showed his impact as a rim protector. A lot to be intrigued about with what Thom can be down the road, taking steps in the right direction. This is from Travis Branham, and just different. Eric Bossi had great things to say about him on the high school level. So it's more so for me the fact that he came in on the scene last year as a true freshman and just had a great year. And you look at, shout out to Working at Hoops. He had a 4-game stretch against Kansas, TCU, Iowa State, and Houston. Listen to those teams. I mean, Kansas, Iowa State, and Houston, some of the better teams in the entire country last season. In that 4-game stretch, he was averaging 15 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, 54.2% from the field, and 41.7% from three. That's that's an unreal stat sheet against that high level of opponent. So he's going to add quite the addition. And Chad, another crazy thing that I'm interested to hear your thoughts on is, Aziz, when we saw him topping out at 26, 28 minutes, we were like, oh wow, that was, West really played Aziz a lot this year in this game. There are numerous games where Mustafa Cham recorded 36, 37, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm talking there's 15 games, half of the season, where he recorded 35 or more minutes. That shows the ability to have the stamina to stay out there as well. I don't think he's going to be doing that at UC, but definitely something to see where he could maybe be a little bit more high volume than what Aziz was this past season.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely appears to have better conditioning. Now, Wes is not a guy that likes playing guys 35, 36 minutes. And also, UCF didn't have anything else at the 5. So he kind of, for them, there was a drastic drop off.
Right.
He's Jalen Haynes is going to play a number of minutes at the 5 where you're not going to be asking him to play 35, 36 minutes, but I think you can then task him with, hey, go give us 6 balls to the wall and come sit down for 4, and then go give us 6 more, and then come sit down for 4. Like that I think is where it could really help his game blossom. And then you get him 28, 29 minutes a game.
So just for quick frame of reference, Kyle Washington shot 56 threes his senior year. Obviously, the game
felt like more
a lot. I know it did, but game has clearly changed. Teams are shooting threes at a way higher clip, but
yeah,
only 56 in his senior year. I can't quite think of another 5 that has. I mean, 79 as a true freshman attempt.
That's only like 1.5 a game. It felt like Kyle shot a lot more threes than that.
I know. I agree with you. Gary actually shot more than Kyle, which is I thought was kind of interesting as well. But Gary attempted 62 in that season, so just an awesome add to the team, and clearly one that you hope that is kind of just a building block to. I don't think you can necessarily rely on Cham to go out and get you 15 a game, but he can be someone that can have some nights where he does score, 15 to 20 and kind of leads you on that offensive side. So, but his defense is top of the line. It's exciting. It's really exciting. Chad, can you think of a more high level NBA type potential talent added since Lance, I guess, being added into the mix than
that's probably fair. Probably since Lance.
Yeah, that's just
Jermaine Lawrence, of course.
Right. Yeah, one and done written all over. One and done. But yeah, but he wasn't the only addition of the day. Ryan kind of mentioned him a little bit. Jalen Celestine out of Baylor, transferred, started his career at Cal, Canadian. He is a guy that he has a degree from Cal already, which I found out from reading a little bit more. He sat out an entire season with an ankle injury at Cal, was second in the Pac-12 in three-point shooting percentage one season. He went to Baylor this past year, had a couple of games where he kind of was a big reason why they were able to win some basketball games with his three-point shooting. Is this simply one of those where you look at a guy that career around 40% from 3, and you know what, bring him in, floor spacer, legit length, and has played a lot of games in the P4, P5 era.
You get a 6'7" shooter that knows its role and can space the floor and give you even more room for those guards to operate. You take it. That it's a necessary add on a team that has okay shooting.
Yeah.
And not shooting to the point where you could always use more. You go out and you get this guy and you make the Dan Skilling's Jalen Celestine trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw Dan already posted a dance with his Baylor gear on. That was just nuts. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. But Aaron, floor spacer, additionally, Celestine, obviously you and Chad had your Big 12 recaps every week, breaking down basketball around the country for the Big 12. What are your thoughts on the addition of big time shooter from the outside?
I love adding anybody who's already been part of the power conferences. I wasn't quiet about that last offseason, and adding guys like that, they've done it before. They've been there before, especially a guy who's already been in the Big 12, knows the landscape and knows what's asked of you in this conference. I think that's nothing but a good thing. Expectations of himself are already a known commodity. Expectations of what this conference is going to demand of you, he knows what to do. That said, shooting 38%, love it. That's an excellent 3-point percentage. I think that probably would have been number one on the team last year at 38%.
No, Day was 40.
Day edged out.
40. Okay.
Yep.
Barely. So yeah, we definitely need guys. That was our biggest issue last season, is not being able to make shots. We can get them up, but making them was a different thing. So yeah, give me all the guys that can make the shots.
Yeah. For me as well, he's a guy that, he started a lot of games. He entered the starting lineup for Baylor last year after Ojuana. Sorry if I am saying that name wrong yet again. After he went down with an injury, he entered the starting lineup. And, you look back at the Kansas game that was at Baylor. It was a huge game for Baylor, a must-win for Baylor. And he was the catalyst in the second half. He hit 4 threes in the second half. He, when they were down 12, he was the reason why, hitting back-to-back threes. And when you have someone with that ability to kind of dig you out of a hole by shooting with legit length, you want to add that any time. Chad, obviously, there's rumblings about his defense and whatnot. I feel like it's more than, got to look a bit further under the hood than rather just say, oh, the 6'7" shooter that can't defend. I think, obviously putting in a different scenario, see how you can do on the defensive end, with Wes and teaching him the nuances of what a Bearcat defense looks like. So let's see. Could be fun. Could be interesting. Ryan,
you're not bringing him in to be a lockdown defender.
No, not at all.
You're bringing him in to be a shooter. And if you have Sincere Harris and Day Thomas and Mustafa Cham on the floor at the same time, you can hide a guy.
Yeah.
you can hide a guy at that point. He's not a terrible defender. He's okay. He's not an elite defender. So we'll see. But I think with who they've got, if you align your rotations the right way, it's not going to be a terrible thing.
Ryan, I'm going to put you on the spot. The portal closes tomorrow. So barring any last-second unforeseen craziness, it seems like this is, for the most part, not the roster is set scenario, but more so a lot of pieces are in place. Your overall thoughts on the roster that has been assembled? It seems like it fits a lot of different ways that you can approach an attack offensively, defensively. You can go with multiple different lineups, a lot of experience, key returners in Gisla and Day. It just seems like it's yet again another piece together roster that, hopefully it pans out in the long run.
Yeah, I'm pleased. I thought they addressed every issue. They at least addressed it, and you talk about kind of the grittiness kind of up in that with Harris and then Creasa, and then 3-point shooting with Creasa and with Celestine, also adding good inside presence with offensive ability with the 2 bigs we brought in, and obviously Cham being the kind of icing on the cake, or I'd say our overall most impactful pull. So yeah, I'd give it right around that B+, creeping up on A-. I thought it was a really solid job, and it's kind of like an opposite approach we went with last year. We're running it back with all these guys. and hoping that these guys would deliver and improve in the ways we thought. And I think we kind of learned our lesson, and we said, we're not tough enough. Let's add some toughness. We're not dynamic enough inside. Let's add that. Also kind of throw 2 good quality 3-point shooters in there. So I think it was a really solid job by Wes and the staff. And, I'm sure Corey Evans had his fingerprints on that too. So good start by him coming out here, getting guys here we need. But, we won't really know how this team really meshes and gels until the ball's tipped in, what is it, December? So because last year we thought everything was going to, improve and kind of elevate, another year, everyone together. So this is kind of, like I mentioned, the opposite. So there might be some growing pains, but I think overall we have the guys in the right spot. So as long as everyone kind of meshes together, understands the importance of, that tough and nasty Cincinnati style basketball, I think we're going to be in really good shape to finally push through to that tournament. God knows we need that, but definitely every bit of steps in the right direction.
Aaron, Chad, for me, one last thing real quick is the fact that Sean Abayev is also coming in, which is like, just like with all these additions, I feel like we're forgetting, wow, this guy that literally is a microwave when he came into these all-star games and the McDonald's All-American game. And then of course the, what was it? FIBA Showcase or Global Games, whatever
the World Games.
Yeah, the World Games.
Nike Hoop Summit.
There we go. It literally came in and instantly hit threes. Instantly in both games. It's just like, wow, you've got some crazy talent that, it's going to be interested to see how the pieces do fit together. 11 current scholarship players. Obviously, you would imagine 1, 2 other additions that would be kind of with the ability to enter the rotation with their play and practice and whatnot. What do you think is missing out of this puzzle that seems to be pretty close to being complete?
I think you're missing a 4, like a true 4. Right now, you've got a Celestine playing up a position, I guess, at 6'7", kind of.
He only played the 4 at Baylor, FYI. He played the 3 at Cal. He played the 4 at Baylor. So he has started in major conference basketball at both positions.
Okay, I mean, I still would like to see another 4 added.
I'm just saying he's not moving down, is what I'm saying. He has played played a full year there for Baylor.
Mm-hmm. And Tyler McKinley's your only other option at the 4, and I don't know if he's going to spend more time at the 4, the 5. Obviously, he's coming back off a crazy injury, and we'll see what kind of shape he's in when he gets out on the court. I know he's been doing shoot-arounds and what have you already, but I don't know. To me, that's not enough depth at that particular position. I think you need at least a guy who can come in and get you a bucket or 2 in a situation, be it fouls, an injury, whatever the case may be. But for me, that's the biggest glaring need on this team.
I wonder how all these guys are going to be able to. What is this lineup going to look like? And the guys off the bench and getting all these guys minutes, it's going to be kind of a logjam at some points because you got the 2 bigs, and then you got Celestine who can play 4 and 3, and you got Harris, Krisa, Jizzle, Day,
Tillery,
Bayev.
Tillery.
So, how are we going to keep all these guys, I guess, happy, so to say, by getting the minutes and consistently? So definitely some chess moves needed by West to kind of navigate that ship.
For sure. But that's why you make the big bucks. You get to figure that shit out. I don't have
to. Those guys are making the big bucks. So
they are.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So maybe it's not like back in the day. It's a lot harder to be on the bench. You're not making any money. It's a lot easier to be this happy. But it's like, yeah, I'm making $1 million. I can take a couple minute cut, especially if we're winning. We can win.
Big's time at the 4. He's never played it. He has been a 5 his entire career. Do I think in this league you could get away with a segment and a half with him at the 4. I don't think it
Yeah.
would kill you, especially with Cham back there,
Well,
at the rim providing
Yeah.
assistance.
my question would be to you: could you potentially play Slime at the 5 and Cham at the 4?
Maybe. I
Yeah,
mean, it would depend on the 4, right? I
'Cause-
don't think you want, because what teams would do ultimately, Aaron, with that is they'd put a shooter on the floor, Cham would be guarding him, and they would just stand him over in the corner. Like,
Yeah.
we're just going to take your guy. And
I just wonder if that would be a better defensive matchup if you were trying to play both of them at the same time.
You mean like when UC's on offense?
When UC's on defense, like having
But what I just said, they'll put him on somebody and space him and just take him out of the play. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you put him on a 4 that can shoot, the 4 will just stand over in the corner or on the wing, and you won't be able to get him near the rim. That's what I would do. If I was faced with that situation where he's guarding my 4 and Slime's guarding my 5, I'd just space him out of the play and tell the guy over there, as long as he's a good shooter, you have to respect him. You can't leave him, right?
well, I think that would be the same situation you'd run into if you had Slime at the 4 with Cham at the 5.
Similar, but you wouldn't be losing your rim protection, is what I'm getting at. If Cham is sucked away from the basket, you don't have rim protection. If Slime is sucked away from the basket, you're losing a body for rebounding, but he's not a guy he's a wall up guy. He's not a guy that's going to block a lot of shots. So if I could pick which type I would want pulled away from the rim, it would be the bigger, slower
Haynes,
rebounding
yeah.
guy and
Right.
not the longer, more agile shot blocking guy.
I think the addition of Cham at the 5 is the only true reason why you could see Haynes at the 4 at times, because like if you had another 5 kind of like in the Aziz mold, then no, you could not do that, because again you're running into the same problem that you had this past season with the zero outside offensive ability out of 2 bigs, and then the clogging of the lane, and then additionally you don't have the freaky athleticism that Dylan Mitchell had at the 4 on the defensive end. So but with Cham, who, sure, unicorn, say it, 7'2", 7'6", 7'8" wingspan. I mean, like, we're surefire. What, he's a projected first rounder next year in the 2026 NBA draft. With more exposure at UC, if he has a great season, you could see that type of profile, even if he shoots even at 30% clip. Like, say he makes 33 out of 110 threes next year. NBA teams are going to be like, okay, yep, let's go get this guy. I mean, he is the reason why Haynes could have some time at the 4, and I think that Haynes also has shown the ability to pass the basketball pretty well.
He's a much better passer than Cham, I think.
Right. So I think that ability, kind of what you're saying, Aaron, additionally is like, where if he gets it at the top of the key on the offensive end, he can also pass the ball. The big to big passing, or try to do his little pump fake and use his body to get into the lane, kick out to Celestine, or crease up for an open 3. I mean, this team is going to be fascinating to see as it starts to form together in the offseason, and see kind of who fits what. And Shada Bayev, how about that? Shada Bayev spotting up on the outside. Pass it out to him. Golly, I'm crazy. Casey Ellis, it's a mirror that I'm hiding. It's a mirror, and a mirror would look a little weird on a screen. So yeah, but I don't know. So Chad, what do you think would be the final addition or 2 if out of the portal, as things are starting to really not close up, because obviously the portal closes as far as entering into the portal tomorrow, but it's still wide open to commit places. So as the staff continues to mold together the roster, what do you think are the sets I set on for 1 or 2 final scholarships?
I think Aaron's probably on the right track. Probably a more physical rebounding forward. Ideally, you'd like a hybrid somebody that could help you at the 3 and the 4, but now you're starting to, people have to remember the less you spend, the fewer qualities you buy.
Right.
So finding a guy that's big and physical and can play the 3 and the 4, like if those guys were cheap, everybody would have them.
Yep.
So, some of those qualities, a forward, a hybrid forward, I would think good on the glass, be it at the 3 or at the 4, you're going to need a little bit more. Celestine's not a great rebounder.
Right.
Like not a guy that you want bodying in there. So you'd probably like to have somebody to pair with him that can get on the glass a little bit. I really like, if you take another guard, somebody's going to leave.
Yep.
Like, I don't think there's any way around that. You've got 5 guys for 2 spots. You got 80 minutes and 5 guys trying to divvy them up. Nobody's going to be happy with 18 minutes a game. So I don't think there's a spot for another guard. But a wing, somebody to put in that 3 spot or somebody to put in that 4 spot to add a little bit of depth, a combo if they're good. Aaron knows how I feel about combo forwards now. I hate them because it just means you're not good enough. You're not, skilled enough to play the 3, and you're not physical or whatever enough to play the 4. So you're a combo, and that means you're not great at either of them. I don't love it.
Yeah. And additionally as well, I like when it comes to Abayev, from what we've seen, an overtime elite is what it is, but he doesn't seem to be a huge rebounder. He seems to be kind of more of a.
It's not a skill for him,
right? I mean, obviously he has the ability with the height and length that he has, or just height in general and ability. But so. I've seen some people say, put Abayev at the 4 and throw that starting lineup together. I think no. I think he's more like, if you have to say he's not a 3 or a wing, which is what he is, then I would say he's closer to like a 2 than he is a 4. So I agree. If the additions come in, it's got to be just get another guy with edge that has a nose for the ball, can rebound it, and adds the physical element to the game. So. But man, it's pretty exciting seeing what they put together. And Mustafa Cham, the unicorn has arrived. Anything more basketball wise? Obviously, things will continue to arise. It's gonna be fun as the team comes together. I'm excited. It's just obviously we got excited last offseason, like Ryan said, and. It kind of just fell flat, but now you've got guys that are dogs, and you add in a couple of highly talented, high potential players as well. It's just going to be exciting to see how it's molded together. So,
I think it's a team that's built a little bit more in the older era Bearcat version of basketball. Now we'll find out if that's a type of basketball that wins in the Big 12.
Yeah. And Chad, another thing that you said is like Aziz played his ass off. Like
he played hard as hell.
He was like, for what he lacked on the offensive end, he made up for in just like heart and just playing balls to the wall. And I saw moments during the last season, because obviously I watched a handful of UCF games, just them being in the Big 12 and whatnot. Cham's got a little bit of that in him too. So it's going to be exciting to see as if he can continue that high level that Aziz had and that kind of intangible. So I think he will, if I had to guess. So we should timestamp and roll into my favorite segment if everyone's ready.
This segment, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Quick Paper Supply. They are your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries. They provide a wide range of food service products, from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats. for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Well,
And if you would like to sponsor Riffin' with Royer, contact me, contact Aaron. We will get you the information that you need, and you can be the sponsor of the Mailbag or of Riffin' with Royer. We have 2 spots open on this show.
Baby. I like it.
Take it away, Brent.
Ryan, my man. Happy birthday to the Rizzler yet again. I give that 8 big booms, and I'm excited to hear your questions, my friend.
You good to go?
Yep.
All right. Who do you think is going to turn out to have more of an impact on out of the portal? Cham or our left tackle that we picked up for football?
It's a good one. Brent, go ahead. I've done too much talking already. I talked for like 50 minutes. You guys can talk some now.
I would say, gosh, just because there's 11 players on the football field, and like, yes, that left tackle is probably the second biggest position outside of quarterback. Shoot. Yeah, I'll say. Oh man, that's a good question. I'll still say Cham. I want to say Cotton, but I just think there's too many additional players on the field at the same time, and the whole scenario where if your offensive linemen aren't getting talked about, that means that they're doing a pretty damn good job. I feel like we probably won't talk much about Cotton, and that means he's doing a damn good job. But you know what? We're going to talk about Cham when he has 15, 9, and 6 against Houston in our first win against them since 2021. So yeah, or 2020, whichever year it was. So I'll say Cham.
I'm with you, Brent, and I'm not even debating it. Mostly because I think you're probably doing a disservice to Cham if you're playing him any less than 25 minutes a game. He's playing both offense and defense. So he's going to be playing, I would think 25 to 30, somewhere in there every game. And there's more games. I think there's more chance for impact. I think the fact that not having a guy like him, you saw what not that Aziz was bad, but by comparison, it's a very different type of game that Aziz had compared to Cham, and I think that we're going to see the impact immediately. We're going to see it every single game, and it's going to be almost tangible. Whereas with a left tackle, kind of what you were saying, if we're not talking about him, it's because he's doing a good job. I don't think you're going to notice it quite nearly as much because it's a tackle as opposed to a center who's getting buckets and blocks and rebounds and hitting threes and doing all of the things that we once upon a time wished upon a star.
I'll take the path less traveled. I'll go left tackle. They didn't have anybody that they felt comfortable with at left tackle. If there was an heir apparent, I would go Cham. But they didn't have a left tackle. They were not comfortable at left tackle throughout the spring. Like, there was somebody new there every other day that they were just like, okay, we want to get him on tape. We want to get him on tape. There wasn't anybody that was like standing out from the pack. So to go get a left tackle, if this offense, both in the run game and the pass game, is going to elevate this team to where they can win 7 or 8 games, it wasn't going to happen if they were bad at left tackle.
True.
So for that alone, like, being able to protect Sorsby's blind side with a guy that I know people in the staff feel has NFL potential, for this offense, I think the other 4 spots on the line now fall in kind of comfortably into place. And I think that's another thing that helps here is now your depth on that line looks a little bit better because you have some of those guys that were in that tackle rotation that can also play guard. So now you've got some versatility coming off the bench. So Joe Cotton for this offense, what this offense needed, they had to go get one, and they had to go get the best one they could get, and they got the best one available in the spring portal.
Nuts.
I think it's a pretty big statement for the staff as well.
Yeah.
What a South Dakota football player name though. Joe
Cotton.
Beautiful.
It's a football name.
Oh, yeah. If he ever does get drafted, like they'll have 2 segments on Joe Cotton during the NFL draft.
I'm certain at some point in my 20 plus years of playing Madden, there's been a computer generated player that's been Joe Cotton somewhere on an offensive line.
No
Probably.
doubt.
All right, I guess we'll go right into question 2. I think we've all kind of the most.
Uh-oh. What a time to freeze.
I know.
The most.
Oh, can you guys hear? What did you hear me say?
The most.
You said the most, and then you looked.
I said I think a lot of us have insinuated that Cham is the most potential to kind of impact our team out of the portal grabs for basketball. Who do you think is the second most valuable portal acquisition?
Wow, Royer bringing the heat tonight. Golly, because the answer would have been Jalen Haynes before Mustafa Cham committed. So,
So second answer?
No, I don't think so. I'm interested to hear your guys' answers because, it is going to be fascinating to see the rotation that they do with. Because Jizzle and Dede are back. And then you add in, and then your 2 other key additions out of the portal, are Kirk Risa and Sincere Harris, which are the same positions as Jizzle and Dede. So
I'd say Kirk Risa. I'm gonna just hop right in. Kirk Risa is the second most important because he has the attitude that we have been missing. I think he's going to get under the skin of every opponent. I can't wait to see him in the crosstown shootout. Because I think he's going to irritate the fans. I think he's going to probably more so than the people on the court, truthfully. But I think he's going to irritate the other team. He can hit threes, and he just has a completely different attitude than anything we experienced last season. He's an elder statesman at this point of his career. His 6th season? So I think that he's going to be a guy, whether he starts, whether he comes first off the bench. I think he's going to be just a complete dog on this team, and I am very interested to see how the offense flows through him.
I'll go Sincere. Just because, there are glimpses of offense in Sincere's game. I'm not going to sit here and say that his shot is super pretty and everything, but I do think that he can provide enough on that end where his elite defense is tough to hide. And when you watch his highlight tapes, he's not only guarding opponents' primary ball handlers for the most part, he's also having matchups against Coleman Hawkins. He's guarding, going up against high level, VJ Edge comes, different possessions where he is literally guarding the team's best player. And, we saw how important, obviously this past season, we saw how important John Newman truly was. The loss of John Newman and Sincere Harris on the defensive end is John Newman plus. So as far as just true value, because I do think Kirk Reese is awesome and whatnot, and I think he'll add good things, but I think Sincere's elite defense will just make it a little bit more valuable.
I'll stick with Harris. I mean, they have not been able to throw the ball in to a post player in 5 years. And Vic, you could a little bit, but Vic preferred to catch more mid post, high post. and then
You
like
saying
back a
Haynes
guy
or
down.
Harris?
Or Haynes, sorry,
Yeah,
Haynes.
Haynes,
My bad. Even Vic would like to like catch around 12, 15 feet, then turn around and back a guy down. He wasn't like, duck in, post up, hand on the block.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't really his game. Having somebody that can do that and then also catch it at 15 feet, and he's got a little bit of handle, great footwork. That's one of the things that makes the guy super intriguing, is how light on his feet he is for his size, which is one, hard to deal with, and two, how a guy like that gets to the line as often as he does. I mean, we talked about this when he committed. He made more free throws than Aziz shot.
Yep.
And he was only a 60% free throw shooter. So, and he took 100 more free throws than the guy that took the most on the team.
Yep.
And I'll take 3 out of 5 if you're getting there 5-6 times a game. So
yeah.
I just think offensively he gives some, and he can pass. He had, like Brent mentioned earlier, he is a guy that can pass the ball. So I think he gives them a dimension that the roster just definitely hasn't had since West got here. And you're going to have to figure out a way, I think, if Cham's getting 25, 27 minutes a game, you probably have to play Big Slime at the 4 a little. Yeah. Like I said, at least like a segment and a half, so that you get him up to 22, 23, 25 minutes.
Amen. Gosh, it's just crazy. Haynes, it's going to be fascinating to see what they do. Because, I mean, what? 2 years ago, they did the whole entire 2 big Twin Towers, try and see how all 4 of those big men mold together. And I would say it kind of didn't really work very well.
No, because none of them can play the 4. Right. Like, that was the problem with it.
Yeah. So, but like you said earlier, Haynes has played 0 minutes at the 4. I mean, I don't know back in his Virginia Tech days if he maybe logged a couple, but
at
last season at George Mason he was all 5. So, gosh, this is gonna be fascinating to see, especially during this offseason. I can't wait for Chad to be like, you know what? I tell you what, I think Haynes might play a little bit at the 4, and then we're just all like, okay.
Well, I mean, I think you have to.
You're
not splitting. Yeah. You're not playing them 20-20. You're not splitting them in half.
Especially if he gets down to that listed 260.
He's 260, like I'm 185.
Oh, you slim, man. Yeah, look at you. 180 on a good day. Golly.
Half of me.
Royer, are you taking Celestine?
I don't like Aaron's Creasa. That was going to be mine.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it would have been my number 2. Creasa would have been my number 2.
Like I mentioned before, how are you going to get all these guys in there with enough time to be able to truly reach
West loves hockey rotations.
Yeah, I mean, I know that kind of drove people crazy last year. It's like, why are you taking them out? Put them back in. But like, hope there's a balance between putting them in, and if you're gonna put them in, you need to do it frequently and enough minutes at a time that they're able to kind of get in the flow, get in their game, kind of get into what makes them excel and why they're on this team in the first place. So, and making sure guys are matched up with their right guys. Do you want to go? Who do you want out there with Creasa? Who do you want out there with Harris? How do you want to do 4 and 5 with Big Slime, Celestine, and Cham? It's gonna be a lot of mix and match, and hopefully everyone has a good off season. They're all in the gym getting better, so that once the team starts practicing, they can really start getting into best combos. So we don't have to wait till like first couple games of Big 12 to be like, all right, I think we have an idea of who goes well with who, because you know how easy it is to drop games in this conference and end up in a hole a la last year. But all right, so to wrap it all up, I know we've been doing a lot of kind of picking game. So I'm going to make one more pick game here.
Okay.
Encompassing both questions. Who had a better portal offseason? The Bearcats football team or the Bearcats basketball team?
Ooh.
Put a stamp on it.
That's a great question.
Go ahead, Brent.
I think football did. You know what? Unicorn for Cham matches the unicorn in Jeff Caldwell. You've got Joe Cotton, who is, big slime on the offensive line. And then you add in additional defensive players that, look like Sincere Harris and play with a little bit of to them. So, yet again, though, there's just so many more numbers in football where it's like you can get excited about, Christian Harrison. You can get excited about, literally a laundry list of players on the football side that we've heard. Cyrus Allen, Jeff Caldwell, Joe Cotton,
Howie Walker,
Taryn Tyree Walker. Like it's just so many players that they added that are going to have impacts with the key players that were brought back this year. For basketball, like I feel like they got good pieces, but they didn't get that one where you're just like, oh, he's going to go out there and get 18 to 20 a game. And I think instead they're thinking that might be Jizzle or whoever it is on a certain night. They didn't go out and the prize jewel was Mustafa Cham, but he's not going to really be a guy that just is like, oh, this guy is an All-American potential. So I don't think football has anyone like that either, but they have enough pieces where you're just like, okay, good little hauls for the football team.
I think it was the basketball team. I begged for a complete overhaul, and it happened. There's not many pieces left of this team. You have reassembled almost everything, and they're not done. There still has to be, you would think, another piece or two at least. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. But I think already the basketball team it's not by a big margin because the football team plugged the holes that they had. In my opinion, I think that they're coming out a far more solid product than what they were at the end of last season. But the basketball team, you had to gut almost the whole team and start fresh, and we'll see what happens. But I'm far more impressed. Not far more. I'm more impressed with what basketball did compared to football.
I think I have to log off because once again I agree with Aaron. Like I think I should.
Wow.
I died today. I've agreed with Aaron like 4 times.
Holy moly!
Now I know why I.
Wait a minute. Maybe you actually are dead.
Maybe. I'm figuring out why I always talk first, so that Aaron has to agree with me instead of Aaron talks first and then he says what I'm thinking and I have to agree with him.
Maybe I've died and gone to heaven.
Ooh, I like this.
Here we go.
You do have the hair for it.
I think Aaron nailed it. I think basketball stripped it to the studs basically. They left the couch in the love seat in the living room, but they redid everything else. And I'm
Prince of Bel-Air. I like it.
Yeah, I think I look at it and I go, it looks like it fits. Like I still think, there might be a small piece left, but it looks like things make more sense now. A little more toughness, a little more defense mixed in with you add some offense, and then you got to put all the ingredients in the pot, stir them up, and see how it tastes. But they had a major overhaul at hand, and I think we're all looking at it now and going, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Football kept Royer, kept Dante, kept Sorsby, kept Golday. Like that one doesn't get talked about much because Golday is kind of a quiet guy, but he could have hit the portal and made a bunch of money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how many guys have jumped from a smaller level to like the upper middle, had a good year, and then made that jump to the top?
Yeah.
and he didn't seem interested in that. So I think football had a really, really strong showing in the portal, but basketball was gutted, and they rebuilt it to something that looks pretty good. So I'll go basketball.
I agree.
Unfortunately, I agree with Aaron. Aaron is doing like a victory lap around his house right now.
I know. Aaron was like, I gotta log off and go tell my sweetheart what just happened.
You went and told your daughter,
never
didn't you?
it.
She's asleep. Come on now.
Honey, wake up. Wake up.
Whispered sweet symphonies.
Story time in the morning, though. Let's go.
Agreed with me. Jack agreed with me.
Like for the whole show. I've agreed with Aaron the whole show. This is
know.
uncomfortable.
I kind of want to give you guys hugs. I want a big group hug after this one. Vibes are immaculate right now.
There's only one way to keep it going. It's for you to segue to the one and only text question.
Do you not remember you texted me yesterday, bro?
I always forget.
I think you were a little lit early. You know, I told you I was doing little bottomless mimosas. You're like, okay, I'll hop on the train. And you said, okay, I'm gonna make myself a little screwdriver. Each pour, I'm gonna pour one. You know, this one's for Gary Clark. This one's for Devin Downey. This one's for Kyle Washington. This one's for Mustafa Cham. This one's for Joe Cotton. Before you know it, you had a big old glass of a screwdriver, and you're ready to get down and dirty. And you said, bro, happy Easter to you. I said, happy Easter to you, man. You said, hey, guess what I just did? I said, what'd you do? You said, I did a grown-up Easter egg hunt. I said, what does that mean? And you said, you walk around, you find these Easter eggs. They got little shotters, little shooters inside of them. You pound them away. A couple of them have little dollar bills inside. And I was like, wow, that sounds fun. And you said, you remember back in the day when you would have an Easter egg hunt as a kid? Was that your favorite thing that was involved with the holiday when it comes to what is surrounded by? And I said, dude, relax. This is a BBP question. And I said, growing up, what was your favorite? Did you like opening presents at Christmas? Did you like getting all dressed up and getting candy at Halloween? Did you enjoy banging pots and pans and washing your hands with little coins, little change on New Year's Day? Did you enjoy eating turkey until you couldn't eat enough turkey and watching football all damn day on Thanksgiving? What was your favorite? Oh, did you like getting a little secret?
I mean, how long was this fucking text?
Did you like a little secret cupids coming from a little special sweetheart of yours back in third grade?
Ryan, you put him on red, didn't you?
I never did, man.
That was the question. That was the question. I said, let's ask the crew.
Halloween. You just get a giant thing of candy that like you were allowed to tear into.
What was your favorite costume you ever wore growing up then?
Ooh. I don't know if I wasn't like it was like the most basic, like I'm not an elaborate costume guy. I just wanted the candy. Like put on, back when we were kids, you just buy those rubber masks that had like the elastic string on them and like nose holes and eye holes cut out. They like cut your face and like give you a rash. But you got home and you like whatever it was, it didn't matter. It's just all about getting the candy. Give me the candy.
I'm really mad I didn't get to answer this question before Chad because he would have had to agree with me again.
Damn, we are on a roll.
Why I went first.
But I also I'm such a fan of Halloween and dressing up that I'm still, as a 40-year-old man, still dressing up for Halloween. Like, I was Bandit last year while we were all the cast of Bluey. Rachel and I and our daughters.
What a great show!
In the full onesie and all that. But Jack Sparrow in college, that was a good one. I was Negan from Walking Dead one year. That was a good one. Okay. Wolverine one year. That was a good one.
So you were jacked back in the day is what you're telling me.
No, absolutely not. But I had a leather jacket and we figured it out.
That fits. That fits.
Christmas was always my favorite because my grandparents would always come to town. My parents always did, they always were. So my mom's side's all Italian, so it's always like the family comes in, like the holidays was always a big part of our family. We would cook homemade ravioli, fettuccine, meatballs, sausage, make the sauce. So
yeah,
a lot of great memories. That was definitely Christmas is number one.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you on Christmas, or Thanksgiving. I just love getting the family together.
Yeah,
and man, it's and the best thing about Christmas is like, you open your gifts, but you're gonna watch a movie. You're gonna be playing that video game you got pretty much all damn day. You're gonna be riding that scooter around a little bit. It was a good time, but July 4th was up there as well.
As you got, and then getting all your buddies together out on a lake, great weather.
Yep. And then you slowly, as you get older, you have that one rebellious friend that's like, hey, I took a couple beers out of the cooler. You guys want a sip? And I'm like, yeah, man, let's try it. I don't condone that. I don't condone it. But I think those were up there for me. So, gosh, I love the holidays.
They're the best.
They are. Well, good job, Ryan. I love Riff. I love it. All right, let's timestamp.
This timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Now, before we hop in the mailbag, Chad, you and Dave had a nice kind of instant reaction nightcap after Joe Cotton committed to the Bearcats.
We did.
Roy, I want to hear your thoughts, because we're talking about what the top 5 available recruits in the portal. We're talking about a dude that looks like the ability to be an NFL offensive lineman. He fits that frame, fits that mold. The other teams that were after him, or at least showing interest, are the who's who of college football. How understated or overstated could this addition be? It seems like it's the simple piece of the pie that makes quite a tasty dish on that offense.
Yeah, it's definitely a much needed position, especially with a guy like Sorsby, who you want to be able to let him have time now that he has receivers that we're anticipating to be creating a lot more separation and getting open, so we can utilize his arm talent. And two, it's still big in the run game, having a good running back like Tawee Walker, who likes to go downhill, and Sorsby, who's still being able to run kind of like that outside zone quarterback option, be able to seal off the edge, and utilize that skill set of his. That's all going to help. It's funny because the alumni golf outing was last Friday, and Coach Satterfield was golfing with us, and we were talking some ball. Yeah, but he was like, yeah, we're thinking about going to get someone in the portal for tackle because, we got some guys who've been mixing around, but we just want to have one more, solid addition that can go out there and compete. And I was in no way expecting it to be the best tackle prospect in the portal. So just shows what a great job that they did to go out and get someone that, he's ranked that way for a reason. The size, the ability, the potential for NFL talent. It's everything you could want. And it's just showing a lot of, how Nico was saying, alignment, the staff seems to be clicking. They're able to make big moves, and moves that we're all pretty confident are going to fill up any gap that we've had and really propel us towards, getting out of this rut we've been in these past 2 years. So I think it fits every hole that we needed out of a tackle. I think he's going to be able to do it all for us. So I'm really pumped. And I was really shocked, based off of, how he was referencing Yeah, we're just gonna go get one more guy, just someone who can go in there and compete. It's like, oh, let's go get the best one available. And I was like, hell yeah,
Right.
let's go. That's awesome. So
He
I think
knew
it's
too. Like he was that guy, the kid was coming in that day, that evening for a
damn,
visit.
I can't believe he didn't freaking tell me. He didn't give me the full inside scoop. I thought I earned his trust. I'm gonna have to bust his chops next time I see him.
I mean,
Or no, it's the next weekend. He came in the next.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
It was a week later. My
Never
bad.
mind.
My bad. I died
But yeah.
today. I'm sorry.
you did.
Yeah.
You did. Hey, but you're back. You're back.
I'm risen.
I mean, obviously, it was just a great the number one highest rated portal edition that the football program has ever had. Is just to put it that way. We all oogle and Google at Mustafa Cham, and that's why Ryan Royer had such a fantastic question about it in the Riffing with just Ryan. And the fact of the matter is, it's left tackle. It's what, Ryan, you're the football guy. Is it the second most important position on a football team outside of quarterback?
I mean, it gets highlighted probably the most.
Right.
Because it's the protector of the most. It's the blind spot protector of your most important player. So it's always like you said, it's their best D lineman, their best outside rusher D lineman versus should be our best offensive, most athletic, dynamic guy, especially nowadays. And the size that he has, the 6'7" frame. There's a reason why everyone in the NFL is 6'7" and above. It's because it works. You're able to do things that other guys can't, be able to compensate for the more dynamic, kind of exotic rush styles that these D linemen just keep coming up with. So it's definitely huge.
Plus, he's got 2 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
This is not I mean, if he's great and he goes and gets drafted in the first round, like, okay. Right. But he does have a second year. So that makes it even potentially larger, because now you're not going to be once again, because you know where you don't want to be every year? You don't want to be in the left tackle market.
Yeah.
No.
It's just as, I mean, quarterback is still probably worse because there's not a lot of good ones out there, but you do not year after year want it like, we need to go to the portal and find us a starter at left tackle. No.
Yet again, for the third year in a row, we have to find.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Aaron, your thoughts on the Cotton edition? It's a big one. Also, just not to hide this one away, they also were able to add Daryl Gibson, the linebacker out of Idaho State. Kind of fits that. He's a true sophomore, so it kind of fits that depth piece to mold into the season and see if he can develop for the defensive side as well. But Aaron, your thoughts on Cotton into the fold?
Well, first off, Gibson was a great add, just in the fact that he is somebody that they can develop, and I'm excited to see what he can do once he's gotten this defense mindset, because it takes a little bit to figure this one out. That all said, Joe Cotton, it was really funny to see. There was a post that had a bunch of the Wisconsin 24/7 reactions to Joe Cotton after he signed with Cincinnati, and some people are in complete disbelief that he would choose Cincinnati over Wisconsin or any other school for that matter. And so there must have been something nefarious going on, or some type of cahoots.
Yeah, you can pay him too. If money was the only thing and you offered more and he picked somebody else,
right?
Yeah, Pat.
That's on you.
But that one made me laugh how quickly they were to turn, because these were the same people that were very high on him because he had a visit scheduled with him. They couldn't wait to insert him into their starting lineup, not even considering the fact that he was visiting Cincinnati first. So that just made me laugh really hard, because they were very quick to heel turn on him, and Just could not believe he must have been overrated. Something wasn't right. Just whatever excuse they could come up with for why anyone would ever pick Cincinnati over Wisconsin. Which just the history we have with many of the people still up in Wisconsin just made that all the more sweeter. That all said, yeah, good to have a left tackle in place. By all counts, he is highly rated, highly touted, and the type of body style that this staff wants to have here. They're big on getting the NFL prototypes here, especially at those types of positions. So to get a guy who fits the mold for what they're looking for at left tackle, just kind of makes you excited. And knowing how much we run the football with this offense, I would imagine that's going to open some very large holes for, Tawi Walker and whoever else has the ball.
And his tape shows an outside zone. He can move and get out on the edge. Like he's not just a stationary, works in a phone booth, if you will.
Yep.
So I'm high on the ad.
Me too. Safe to say, I give that one 5 big booms. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop in this BBP mailbag, my man.
You're the worst. Starting off in the football portion of the mailbag. What do you see as more likely a season with 8+ wins or a season with 5 or less wins?
8.
I think they've got the pieces in place to be better. Last year, I also think it was pretty tough because you were bringing in a new defensive coordinator, almost an entirely new defense in terms of players. You've got the defensive coordinator back. You've got quite a few of the pieces back. I think that should be able to help you when you get into those really tough stretches of games like we saw at the end of last season. So I'll go 8. I would be pretty. I mean, we said year one, we said it could be anywhere from 4-8 to 8-4, and it ended up 3-9. But we at least were acknowledging this thing can get real wrong in year one. Year 2, 5-2. Like all we said was get to 6-6. Get to 6-6. And they get to 5 and can't get over the hump. So if actually, I just talked myself into it's going to be 7, because if 8 is the number, they've gone 1 under the number, so it's going to be 7. I'll get 7.
I think they need 8 though.
Yeah,
7 feels like it's like this ship ain't going to go anywhere special.
Maybe if they get 7, it is definitive progress. Now, then you're going to lose Sorsby and Corleone and Royer and those guys to graduation. So you have a bunch of important spots back up. But do I think 7's a good thing? No. Do I think it's panic if they get 7? No, I don't think so.
What if it's 7 and a bowl game win to get you to 8?
I just don't think that bowl game is going to do anything for me at that point.
Yeah, bowl games don't
matter. Who's the bowl game?
Well, but
we're conditioned that bowl games don't matter because we've been in the American, and if you didn't make the BCS, then every bowl was shit.
Yeah. The Fenway Bowl against Louisville on a cold
Wyatt Fisher touchdown game.
Ooh, Evan Prater coming out party.
I don't think any
military bowl where I almost thought I was going to have to cut a toe off because I was in the rain for so long.
It's also those bowl games. It's like the amount of people who are actually playing in them with the portal. With
nowadays it's just so different.
Yeah,
like during your playing career, Ryan, bowl games like had meaning, right? Even though they were
back in the day, if you were in the SEC, every bowl game you won was important, and every bowl game you lost was because the other team, the SEC team, didn't care. Like they had moved on.
Last year, the Big 12 played in the New Mexico Bowl. It was Louisiana versus TCU. They played in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Iowa State versus Miami.
Okay.
The best bowl game in the world.
Okay, lock it in.
And they
Lock
played
it
in the Alamo Bowl, BYU versus Colorado. That said, at 7 wins, I don't know that you're getting into the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
I'm okay with seeing Sorsby taking a big old bite of that mascot.
That was a
Just-
playoff bowl.
What?
Oh, it wasn't?
That was Iowa State, wasn't?
No.
Arizona
No.
State.
That was Arizona State. So that was the other one I was missing.
It's okay. A+. That's my answer.
Lock it in.
Lock it.
All right, next question. How many Bearcats are getting their name called this weekend?
Free.
2.
2.5.
Ooh, wow. Can't wait to hear that half name. And with the
What do you mean 2.5?
200 and- with the
What do you mean
190,
2.5?
I met you guys in the middle.
the Cleveland Browns select
I think it's 3.
John
Half of
of the
half
University
of D'Artagnan Tinsley.
Well, it's either is it John something or something Williams? Is that counting as your half?
right.
I think it's 3.
I think it'll be Kandra and Williams, and then Tinsley will be a quick. I want to see DT get picked up. Like, friend of the show, I love DT,
Yeah.
but
No
I'll
Corey?
guess. I don't think it's a great running back draft,
It
and
is.
I think he's a 4.6 guy. Like, he'll get a shot somewhere. I just don't think he's
Little
going to get
hands.
drafted. Yeah.
I was amazed to see that Dane Brugler, however you say his name, had Kandra 6th round. It's like, what in the world? It's
I would
all over the place.
love
That's
the
also why
Bengals to
I'm
pick him
only
up.
at 2. This wasn't a great team. It's not a lot of momentum. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think 2. Hope I'm wrong.
Since spring ball is completed, please compare position groups to stats previous UC to I guess stats,
Stats, I
previous
think,
UC UC teams.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah, that would be a Chad question.
Secondary's better. Maybe considerably better if they've got what I think is going to be a really good group at safety. Linebackers, it's about the same as a year ago. It's going to be mostly the same guys that played a year ago. So, we'll see if they take a step up. Defensive line's kind of an incomplete. I don't know until we get Jalen Hunt and Coleman healthy and on the field when the season starts. But I think there's potential for the defensive line to be better. You're asking me post-spring football. I did not see Joe Cotton play in the spring. So I can't grade offensive line higher yet. Also, you got 3 guys that we're talking about getting drafted right now.
Right.
And Kandra, Williams, and Tinsley. Last year is going to be an edge on the offensive line to last year. Quarterback, you hope Sorsby is going to be better. Running back, you lose a potential NFL guy. I'll say running back a little worse right now, but we could change our mind on that one depending on what we see. I just think you lose Kiner, so it drops a little bit. Tight end, Royer, final year. Grover and Zahersky in their second year. You get a national champion in Gerd to be your H-back blocking guy. I'll say the tight end room's better. And
Smith.
I certainly hope the wide receiver room's better because they were not good last year. They stunk. So certainly hope the wide receiver room's better. Care to agree with me, Aaron?
Good enough that the one of the top receivers from the team last season took off. So
Yeah.
Going to UCF?
He was also
Maybe.
visiting Miami.
Maybe.
So, yeah.
Trying to go back to Florida.
Yeah, he's a Florida kid.
Yeah. Who are some sleepers that you think could contribute this year that fans might not be aware of? Also, any disappointments that fell a little, but during the spring?
A little bit during the spring.
Yes.
Got anybody, Brent?
Copy and paste.
I know, but he typed it wrong. I'm not saying you typed it wrong.
I'm out here like Anchorman, just reading the script.
And go F yourself.
San
Diego.
Whoa, you got poop coming out of your mouth. Poop mouth. Maybe one of the edge rushers, like, you know, just because they've kind of gotta contribute a little bit, like a CJ McCray or, you know,
Micah Coleman.
Yeah, Michael Coleman. Hopefully he introduces himself pretty loudly, but because there's got to be someone that kind of just comes in and just separates himself a little bit on that side. So as far as sleepers that would contribute there, I think that would be my pick. Disappointments that fell a little bit during the spring. I don't think so. I mean, not that I guess no one. I mean, unless like you're talking about the
players
ball, that
like,
left.
Yeah,
I think if we were in fall camp, and we were seeing guys that weren't up to where we want them to be right before the season starts, I think that we're talking a little bit different. But this is spring ball, man. We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only way really for me to like disappointments that fell a little bit during the spring would like physically go back to the notes and be like, who did I not write down at all?
Right.
Right? Like, who did not turn my head at all during the spring? I mean, I don't want to kick dirt on somebody that left, but like one of the reasons that like Jordan Robinson and Tony Johnson are gone is I didn't write them down a lot during the spring.
Right. Exactly.
Tony Johnson was nicked up a little bit, injured a little bit. Barry Jackson, I think, is fair, Wolfie, but that's not anything new. Like Barry Jackson has had this consistency issue since he got here, where he'll make a play and you'll be like, damn. And then he'll drop a pass over the middle that's like right in his hands. Like,
yeah.
So it's like that's fair to call that a disappointment because you would hope going into year 3 that would decrease, and it's been kind of about the same. So I think that's fair. But like, you know, there's not you don't get a lot of 11 on 11 in the spring. You get a little bit more 1-on-1 and 7-on-7, but you don't get a lot of like legitimate football to watch. Not like you do once we get to higher ground and get to camp and start getting ready for the season. I thought Ethan Green was fine. I mean, I think he's much better at right tackle than left tackle at this point, this stage. So when he was over working with Buford at right tackle, I thought he was all right. But he doesn't have the bend to really be over on that left side, I don't think. Like he's a massive human, as Aaron can attest to. It's not a guy that bends real quick. So I'll give you Barry Jackson. I won't fully agree with Ethan Green.
I found it interesting in your guys' interview with Tarantino and Gavin Gerhardt is Gerhardt immediately mentioned Simeon Coleman. And so
he's a menace.
Obviously it's a name that the fan base started to hear more and more as a true freshman last year, but I think he could just be someone that is just, you hear his name quite a lot in year 2.
And practice doesn't even do him justice.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
I just said he's primed to break out. All that clanging and banging though on the at the line, I think they take it probably a little easy on each other, especially starters. So yeah, it's hard to really do them justice when you're not doing 11 on 11s, when you're not doing full game speed all the time. But with so many big-time suitors who apparently expressed interest in Joe Cotton, how confident were the staff that they would be able to nail this down?
I mean, we kind of talked about this. In the portal, like, evolution, I guess, is the, like, it used to always be. We talked about this last week, I think. It used to always be you wanted the last visit. In the portal, you want the first visit because you're trying to get it done before they can go see anybody else. Now, if the kid leaves town, the chances aren't great, but you know, Jalen Celestine went to Santa Clara after the UC visit, and they did get him. It's not like it's impossible, but the percentages aren't as good if they leave town and go visit somebody else. So the fact that they could get in first, and remember, this is almost the same kind of situation that they had with Sorsby a year and a half ago. He went in the portal. The next day he was here. He committed before he left. And they knew they needed a left tackle. They identified the left tackle. The portal opened. The kid got to campus, visited, committed before he left. So I think they felt pretty confident. Now, you never know. And he's the number one tackle in the portal. So everybody is coming at him. So you're nervous as hell. But I think they felt like they were in a good spot getting that first visit. And then were able to nail the visit and get it across the finish line.
I apparently put that one twice. What are your initial thoughts of the 25 freshman class, and which of the summer enrollees are you looking forward to seeing come fall camp?
Go ahead, guys. You know where I'm at on high school recruiting right now.
It's like second page.
Yeah.
I won't do much.
Excited to see James Early and Damari Witherspoon. There we go.
There's only 6 for summer enrollees. With CJ Crite at linebacker, Damari Witherspoon at tight end, James Early at edge, Cameron Neal at edge, Jamari Johnson at corner, and Marcus McGregor at interior offensive line. Of those, CJ Crite actually is ranked an 89 by 3-star 89 at by 24/7.
Yeah. I do think there's a scenario where if he comes in and has a Simeon Coleman type summer, that he could scratch the 2 deep, Aaron, because they are looking for young linebacker depth. That's why they brought in Gibson. So, you know, Crite would probably be the best. I mean, look, I think we all know better than to really look forward to offensive defensive line guys early. Yeah. And that kind of includes Witherspoon at tight end as well, although Kamari Smith has been outstanding at camp. Right. But that gives him another guy he'd have to jump over. Yeah. So I'll go Crite.
Out of those guys, I think it has to be.
Yeah, buddy.
And then for the guys that were here, like I said, Kamari Smith was really, really good at camp. Jeremiah Kelly, 6'3", 300 is generous that they list him at. He is not 300 pounds anymore. He's kind of been taking a lot of those. I think ultimately, if they had to go to a backup center behind Gerhard, it would be Tengestal. Mm-hmm. But Kelly has been taking reps with the 2s at center and at guard. So I think you have to keep an eye on him. Gianni Contosis absolutely looks the part and had a good camp. I
think you still want to see what Tim Griffin might be able to do. I know people were high on him, at least early on.
He's raw. His
got
size,
at least the build. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks great. But they
The
just got to get him up to
Rob
speed.
Jackson effect.
Yeah.
All right. That ends the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion. Oh, no, there was one more. I'm sorry. Are we going to be able to generate enough pressure up front to make things easier on the secondary?
That's the $1 million question, DeJuan. Don't know.
I'm hoping it's going to come more from installed pressures, whether it be from linebacker and safety. That's really going to be the difference.
Sure, but it would be great to have one guy show that like he has that knack for being disruptive in the backfield.
Yeah, and we know Dante is going to, cause some damage up there, and try to attract. He will be attracting two guys, so guys that can utilize their one-on-ones when they get them and win. Definitely need some more of that.
I hope Dango shows more blitzing. I want him to be just kind of a menace going after the quarterback. Hopefully.
He'll be in the Jared Bartlett role, so
yeah,
he'll have a chance to do that. More blitzing, we'll see. Depends on how comfortable with the secondary they feel. Because I know the past 2 years they have not felt comfortable, and it has resulted in dropping 8 at every opportunity. So hopefully they feel better about the coverage, which means you can send more guys.
Mm-hmm. And that ends the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion. With Big Slime and Cham coming in, where does that leave Halveen? Would he be likely to find some minutes in the rotation?
It leaves him where he started as a backup big man. His development will kind of determine what that means. But, if those two guys are playing the 5, there ain't going to be a whole lot of minutes at the 5. And I'm not trying Halveen at the 4, so don't ask or I'll leave.
Yeah. Cham versus Aziz, contrast and compare, please. I think we kind of did that already in the first hour. So, give me your starting 5 with the roster as it currently stands.
Okay.
Who you got, Roy?
I think it's going to be Cham, Celestine, Jizzle, Day, and I don't know. Last
Abayev
or Krisa.
You beat them all with Krisa.
Yeah,
small.
I'm taking your 5. I hope Haynes and Cham. I think if those two could start together, that'd be crazy, but I don't think it would happen. So it would be Celestine, Cham, Abayev, Krisa, Jizzle.
I think Day-Day's going to come off the bench after this past year.
I agree. I mean, he's arguably was our best player this past year, and I just don't know. It's just depends on what you want out there. Do you want to have like a crazy second, energy jolt of defense coming off the bench and Day-Day and Sincere? I don't know. It's fascinating because I could see you starting Sincere as well. Just crazy.
That's a 3-guard lineup.
Right.
He's not a small forward. So if you played him, you would be playing 3 guards.
Exactly.
But I think that's day one. I think you see Harris out there before you see Abayev, maybe.
It's nuts. I don't know.
I don't hate the idea of Abayev coming off the bench, especially if it means if you have 4 shooters around Harris.
At least early.
That's what I'm saying. I think he could be there at your first. Wes loves to make that substitution at the 4-minute mark. So if you're bringing in Sean Abayev at that point and Day potentially, that's a jolt of offense immediately between the two of them. So you can kind of hide Harris if you have 4 shooters out there.
Carissa, Jizzle, This is day one. Like, who starts on opening night? Carissa, Jizzle, Harris, Haynes, and Cham.
Okay.
As things stand.
Yeah. Subject to more information and more knowledge.
Right.
That's just my first on paper rough draft.
I would love Haynes and Cham starting together. On the record. For the record.
All right. I'll say Krisa, Jizzle, Abayev. Although I do love him coming off the bench. I think when we get to Big 12 play, though, I think it'll be Abayev. And then Haynes and Cham. But all right. A lot of fans are talking themselves into Haynes at the 4, even though he never played there in previous stops. Do you think the staff is viewing that as a serious option? Not just us, but the staff.
I just don't know how the minutes work if you don't.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play 20 minutes at the 4? No. Do I think he could play 8? One rotation a half at the 4? Maybe the opening segment of each half, he plays the 4, and then you do the substitution game all the way to the end without the two of them playing together, unless it's really, really working. But yeah, I think it's an option. It's not even May, so a lot of things are an option.
Everything's on the board.
Anything is possible.
What are the odds that the staff would dip back into the high school ranks to fill any remaining roster slot?
I mean, since you get 15, I guess I don't think it's likely. I don't think there's much left out there in the high school ranks right now. So I'll go 2 to 5 odds. No, worse than that. 1 to 5 odds. We're doing odds. 20%. Probably if the odds were at 20%, I would take the under. I don't think they're going to add a high school kid, but it's possible.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say under 10% odds. Because just looking at the top 100 real fast, it looks like there are 4 players left uncommitted in the top 100, 5 in the top 110. So it's like, yeah, it's slim pickings. But like Chad said, that those back end of the roster, additions, you could see, but at this point, I think there would be.
And it also could end up like they go get a walk-on from the high school ranks. So
right.
Now it's not walk-ons anymore. So that kid would be on scholarship. So,
in that case, then I would say 100%. Then, right? I mean,
the 14th or 15th guy could. Well, maybe it doesn't come from high school. Maybe you
true.
Get a D2 transfer to be your walk-on or whatever.
Yeah,
some kid just sitting in the portal. At this point in time, with the addition subtractions, what is the biggest weakness, strength of this team as assembled?
Continuity. From
we could talk about Willis.
I'm like the continuity from last year's roster compared to what they're going to be having next year is pretty low. It was kind of just a joke at all the new additions that they brought in.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Man, strength. I hesitate to say depth because that's what we said all last offseason was depth. But I think they've got some pretty solid depth right now outside. And weakness would be, as we've already discussed, would be the 4 position and having like Matt Lanham just said, a true rebounding presence. Because I mean, Haynes is a good rebounder. Cham is a good rebounder, but neither of them are like great rebounders. And then outside of them, Celestine is not a good rebounder. I mean, he's decent. Abayev is not a great rebounder. So yeah, I think that would be the weakness at this point right now.
I don't know how you could say anything else but rebounding.
Yeah.
Ryan?
I'm right there with you guys.
On paper, like rebounding is usually a skill that translates. So if guys are great rebounders, you know. And I don't look at it and say there's a great rebounder. I look at it and think there's a couple guys that can be good. But like, who's gonna do what we expected Dan to do, which is somebody, at the 3, or he was playing the 2, but somebody in one of the guard wing spots, whatever,
Right.
getting you consistently 5, 6, 7 rebounds a game. I don't think there's anybody there, and that's where I think, like, if you can go find a value 4 that is just a glass eater, do it.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
Will Cham be Aaron's least favorite player at 7'2"? He attempted twice as many threes than dunks. I think it's going to depend what clip he's making them at and when he's taking them.
I don't think it'll matter. You'll hate him.
Probably.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, why did he shoot those 4 threes? And only made
4
one.
3. He didn't make a single dunk, and he shot 4 threes. You're 7'2". What are you doing?
If he missed all of them or made one of them, that's terrible.
See? 7'2". He doesn't have a single dunk, and he goes 1 of 4 from 3. Get this guy off of my roster.
Humbug.
Y'all set me up for failure.
Hey, look. I'm just balancing out the night.
It's fine. Any good non-con schedule nuggets to share?
No, you see, alum, I love you. If I ask somebody about the schedule right now in the middle of the portal chaos, they would either hang up on me if we're on the phone and slap me if we're in person. So, no, I don't have any non-conference nuggets to share at this point in time.
I'm begging you to ask somebody that in person.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Assuming he's healthy, what's the biggest question mark in Tyler McKinley's game that could jeopardize his ability to have an impact in the rotation?
My biggest concern with him through AAU and coming into college, and I talked about this a lot, he struggled at times with length. Now, he has continued to grow, so it's not as much, but he's not a guy with a huge, wingspan. So, guys that could play off of him and still give him trouble with their length, where he couldn't use his physical skills, his big frame, his big body, they gave him trouble. We haven't seen it here since he got hurt on the first day of practice, and even as he came back, he was still limited. So it wasn't like he was in there like full contact, just body to body with guys. That still is probably my biggest concern. 1 and 2, what is he as a rebounder? Is he maybe he's an answer there. There will be a role for him to carve out if he's a guy that can go in there in 12, 15 minutes, whatever, and get you 5 or 6 rebounds. There's a huge place for him in this rotation if he can prove he can do that. So if he can't, it's going to jeopardize his ability to have an impact in the rotation. If he is not a guy that can come in at that 4 spot and be physical and get on the glass, that's gonna hurt him.
What 3-point percentage do you think Jizzle needs to get up to feel confident in the offense next year? I'm thinking at minimum 33%. If he's still below 30%, I think the offense will continue to struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
43 would be great.
I mean, he shot 163 threes last year.
And 28%.
Yeah. Which was, 80 more threes than he attempted as a freshman. Obviously, he's got a lot more minutes, but yeah, need to start making them at a higher clip, especially because it does seem like the fact that, the staff didn't go out and get like a true scoring alpha out of the portal.
Yeah.
It shows they're putting a lot of faith in Jizzle. So yeah, I agree. Minimum of 33%, which I think he can do.
Yeah.
And I think with better spacing now and better offense around him and pieces, it seems like, I think that could definitely help him have more of just a flow and continuity to his shot. So
hopefully one thing he can learn from Day this year is Day became a lot more selective 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He was not taking as many off the bounce, kind of force it up type threes. If he becomes a little bit more selective, he doesn't even have to become a lot more selective. If he becomes just a little more selective, I think he can get up in that 32, 33% range, which I think obviously you want it to be better, but I think it would make a pretty significant difference.
Right.
Yeah. All right. If you had to pick between Big Slime, Harris, or Creasa, which one will become the villain for Eggs fans in the next crosstown shootout? I didn't even read this question when I pasted it earlier, but I did have Creasa in my description.
Easy.
Gotta be.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy, Creasa. Easy.
For sure. Yeah, I think
they recruited him a couple times too. So Xavier fans, are familiar with him.
Harris might cause a big defensive play that gets the crowd booing, and then Creasa might be the one that takes it over the level, to the next step, and then that's why everyone will hate Creasa. So yes,
he'll be the shit talker. That ends the basketball portion of the mailbag. There is nothing in the baseball portion of the mailbag, maybe because they got swept this weekend. But there are 2 questions left in the banks.
Skins.
How do you feel about Castellanos' home run timings? With the Pope dying, people have been betting Nick Castellanos to hit a home run tonight because he does that when bad things happen to this country. Also, did you bet it? I did not.
Did he hit one?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think if he would have hit one, it literally would have been everywhere on social media.
Yeah. Well,
I think
it's almost as crazy as Cody Bellinger hitting a home run in each of the last 3 420 games. Castellanos did not hit a home run today.
It is a good little. I can't remember what the last one was where I went. I think it was the submersible submarine. I hammered that one. I don't remember if it hit or not. So, yep, right to FanDuel.
Yeah.
Tragedy strikes.
Didn't even get a single today.
Oh, for 4, 2 strikeouts.
Tyler O'Neill has hit a home run in opening day the last 4 seasons. Cody Bellinger has hit a home run on 420 the last 3 seasons, and Cody Bellinger looks like a stoner, which is just funny. And then Castellanos, not today, my friend, not today.
And then lastly, Chad, it was good to hear you on the radio this past Thursday afternoon. How do you keep yourself from cursing on the radio, as it is quite a different venue than our beloved BBP format? Add in the fact that you also have to cover the mishaps with Reds and Bengals. and I think it'd be quite the challenge.
It's not. You just get used to it. Like different setting, different one on the radio, it's not as conversational. You're talking to more of the audience. Where here, we're talking to each other, so it becomes more of a conversation than like being in a. I don't think you guys you're just sitting in a room with a microphone in front of you, like talking to yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not in cursing mode. Like I curse when I'm talking to the fellas. Like that's so it's just different. And I guess I started this when I was 17 when I got to Marshall. I've been doing this for 30 years now. You just can turn it on and off. But like the curse words don't even come to my brain when I'm doing radio. When we do this, they flow pretty, not as much as they used to. I think we had a period with this show where we cursed a lot more than we do now. But I don't know. It just the setting determines how your brain works, I guess.
Yeah, and same as like when I used to do play-by-play, like you kind of go into it knowing like, all right, I got to be a little bit more.
But you don't even curse here.
Yeah, sometimes.
Like once every 10 shows, you say.
That is funny. But when I talk to you guys off air, and I tell you what.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You're a sailor.
Nah, it's. But hey, I commend you for being able to turn off the nozzle on and off, because as we saw Ron Burgundy, he was not able to do so, and it really almost cost him his job. But he
I'm Ron Burgundy. That's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent.
Well, guys, what a whale of a day it was. You know what? And things aren't going to slow down quite yet. Everything keeps turning along, and we keep having fun, and you got to keep staying locked into BCJ and make sure that you see what is next, what is in stores. We have nothing but wall-to-wall coverage of everything Bearcats. You know what? Here live at the Cincy Light Studios, I forgot to mention that. And give the boy JP Sponso a little spin of his pod.
Yeah.
I'll be coming to you again on Thursday. But you know what? Shouts to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Shouts to Quick Paper Supply. And then shouts to everyone else that stay locked in and listens to us each night. So for the guys, for the crew, for the squad, for Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, and Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Yet again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!